Good morning. Welcome to Lusail Boulevard on World Cup final day. I've come here early because I'm on the other side of the city, so just wanted to make sure that I got here in good time. And what a backdrop this is. I'm here at my favorite cafe, Mockingbird, on the Lusail Boulevard, having a croissant and a coffee, as I always do. And the build-up is starting. This is going to be a spectacular day today here in Lusail and the iconic stadium for the World Cup final between France and Argentina. And I've started to do some build-up videos, and this particular video is going to give you a preview of the match and my prediction for what I think will happen. I've been making a lot of these videos during my trip to Doha over the last 10-11 days. Obviously this is not my day job, as you all know. I've just been going around capturing videos, literally pointing a camera and just talking to myself, and then uploading them on YouTube, just because I need the memory free on my phone. And that's it. And I've done all of these videos unscripted, unedited, even though my 8-year-old daughter Halima has been teaching me how to edit, add this, that and everything. I haven't been able to do it. So I'm literally taking raw videos, unscripted, unedited, and just loading them on YouTube. And I'm sure you've seen some. If you haven't, then go to YouTube at Mr. Mia World Cup Qatar 2022 and you might see some of those. So here I am this morning at Lusail Boulevard. I'm going to turn this video around. So I just want to give you a context of where I am. If you've seen my other videos of Lusail Boulevard and the fan zone, and you'll know these 4 buildings there, these 4 silver buildings, Lusail Towers, iconic buildings that finish at the end of this boulevard, which has seen hundreds of thousands of fans over the past month, and they're expecting quite a few to turn up here with kickoff over 5.5 hours yet. I'm looking back at the boulevard, and in this gap here, between this gap just to the right left, is the iconic Lusail Stadium, the home of the final between France and Argentina. So I tuck into my coffee and I'll just talk to you very briefly. I came here about half an hour ago and I've had to do a lot more interviews than I've actually done myself. That's Al Jazeera over there. I've done an interview with them, and Sky Germany, some Japanese broadcaster somewhere. I don't know what I've said to whom. I'll probably appear in some random news clip or footage somewhere in the world today, and just randomly taking pictures with people wanting to take pictures. And they'll have seen from I've come here as an England fan, with my England shirts, with my England flags and everything, but this is not England's day. So I've done a bit of a subtle nod to who I would like the World Cup to be won by. My blue shirt and my white t-shirt. And I think I made it pretty clear in my various videos that the word football should be erased from the dictionary and replaced by the word Diego, because football was invented for Maradona, and Maradona was born to play the beautiful game. So let's talk about this final today. How do I summarize an event like the World Cup final? I feel like a kid in a candy shop. Honestly, I am so excited. There will be 90,000 people in the stadium. There will be 90,000 out here in the boulevard. There will be 900,000 spread across the 12 fan zones all over Doha and Qatar, across the Middle East, Africa, Asia, South America, North America, the worldwide audience for this event is going to go through the roof. There is nothing comparable, not the Olympics, not the Super Bowl, not Champions League final. This is the World Cup final of football. And I can't, I honestly am absolutely over the moon to be here, to be in the stadium for the final, and to be in the stadium as a VIP guest for the final. I mean, this is stuff of dreams. The last 30 days, I've only been here for the past week and a half, and I can honestly say it's flown by. I don't know where time has gone. I've woken up, I've gone out, I've gone to matches, I've watched England, France, I've watched Croatia, Brazil, I've watched Holland, Argentina, I've watched Holland, Croatia. I've watched games in the fan zones. I've met hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world. I've taken pictures with people. I don't know where and how many of these pictures are going to end up, but just random people, random pictures, videos, TV crews, interviews, you name it, the lot. This has been a long time in the making. It really has, years. Finally here, World Cup final. Blood, sweat and tears, the focus, the hard work, the determination, the ups and downs. And I'm sure the two teams are feeling similar emotions as well. I've done separate videos for build up and over the last 10 days when I've been here, just capturing bits of Doha, bits of these matches, and also just addressing some issues that have been raised in the media, especially in our UK Western media, about how this World Cup is and was going to take place. Well, I can tell you that it's been an unanimously agreed resounding success, and no matter how much negativity has come out of the media, the social media has addressed the lies and the myths, and social media is now king. So whatever you see from your BBCs and your Skies and your Fox lies, your newspapers, your radios, you're peddling lies and half-truths about this World Cup, about Doha, about Qatar, about the Arab world, about what it's been like. Well, if you've seen some of my videos, just a fraction of what's been going on, and I haven't been able to get anything really. Some people much more well versed on this, you know, frequent social media, YouTubers, bloggers, independent media outlets. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours of footage online that you can see, and you can get a feel for exactly what it's been like here in this World Cup. So how does somebody like me, who isn't a professional here, who doesn't do this for a living, doesn't do this regularly, capture the build up to a final? It's beyond me, but I'm just gonna try and explain, give you a little bit of background as to how the teams got here, and what lies in store this afternoon, this evening, if you're watching in a different time zone than the 6 o'clock kickoff here in Doha time. And I'm sure you've read and seen the reviews and the previews and the build-up, but this is just my take on things, just a very raw, random set of comments, unscripted, unedited. The thing that I'm kind of excited and a little bit sort of, I'm going to be in the stadium watching it, the lucky one of 90,000, but I also am envious of all the different fans that are going to be watching this game in the various fan zones. And the fan zones here in Doha have been absolutely superb. Literally thousands and thousands of people have got together, and that's been one of the highlights of this World Cup. Yes, going to the stadium has been great, but watching it in amongst the fans, the rawness of it all, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the energy that you get from being around 30, 40,000 people by the roadside watching a screen, trying to you know, dodging this way and that way to try and get a glimpse of the screen. And the sheer energy that comes from being in that environment is, football fans will know. But that environment is such a clean and honest environment, because there aren't anybody there who's drunk, who's rowdy, who's, you know, getting up to no good. And that's what's been so great about it as well, being able to just be amongst all of these people. And I've been to football in the most recent scary event, Champions League final in Paris, and I know what it's like to be around people who have drunk all morning or all afternoon, or people who are coming there looking for a fight, for people who are trying to rob people or steal from them or commit crime. None of that here. None of that here. All everybody wants to do is watch football, and football's won. Football, the soberest football tournament in the world, and people have seen a competition and what it can be like when everybody is so well behaved, so excited just for the game, nothing else, none of the stuff around it, none of the hand over your mouth, none of the bands in your arm and anything like that. Just pure unadulterated excitement, enjoyment of a football match with people that share your passion and you want to see the game, just purely the game, and be immersed in the moment and the occasion. That's it. So coming back to the game itself then this afternoon, seems like a whole month has flown by. I've watched the first 2 weeks of the World Cup at home on TV, and I'm here now the past 2 weeks watching the final live, and it's flown by. It really has. It's kind of weird because this World Cup is sandwiched between our regular Premier League season, European seasons, and it's hard to believe actually that something that started 26, 27 days ago, and so much has happened in that time. And we're here down from 32 down to the final 2, just France and Argentina. We had the third place game yesterday between Croatia and Morocco, which Croatia won, and that was an event at the Khalifa Stadium that everybody enjoyed that went. But today it's about France and Argentina at Lusail International Iconic Stadium, kickoff 6 p.m. local time. And you could say that many people expected one or both of these teams to be here in the final. France defending champions, and when Argentina, well, there was high expectations of Messi and Argentina, of course, but when they lost that first game against Saudi Arabia, and credit to Saudi Arabia for the game they played, but I suspect a lot of Argentinians, a lot of people who have put money on Argentina would have been thinking, oh no, not again, not another false dawn, a false promise. But they've rallied since, led by Messi, and here they are in their second final in 8 years. There's been a lot of personnel changes within that team, but the one player that's been a constant within that team is, of course, Messi. And when you've got Messi, it doesn't matter who comes and goes, there's always a chance, isn't there? When Qatar got this World Cup 10, 12 years ago, this is the final they dreamt of. Maybe Brazil, Argentina, that would have been their dream scenario, dream final. But Argentina against France, the defending champions, they couldn't have scripted that, could they? Messi versus Mbappe, teammates, PSG. Messi, probably the greatest player since Maradona in the modern times, and Mbappe, who's building up nicely to take the baton from Messi, having already won a World Cup at the age of 19 and looking to win another one today before he turns 24. What a matchup. This game is just the permutations, the scenarios, the records on the line in this World Cup final, just endless. It goes on and on and on. Of course, there can only be one winner in today's showcase, and it's not just Messi and Mbappe. Of course, the talent on show in the two squads and the two teams is phenomenal, and they'll all be there showcasing it on the greatest, biggest stage at the World Cup. And of course, let's not forget that at the end of this World Cup, there is a small matter of the Ballon d'Or to contend with, and both Messi and Mbappe will be hoping that the World Cup will pretty much cement that trophy for them as well, and be the undisputed king of world football. And whoever wins, Messi or Mbappe, Argentina or France, you know, the winner's got to come out of those two teams. So there's so much to look forward to between the two teams, the two superstars. And I think if you recall, going back to the last World Cup 2018, when they played together in the round of 16, France beating Argentina 4-3. What a game that was. What a game that was. If you remember it, if you don't remember it, go back and get it back on YouTube as a build-up for the final for yourself. And as I said, this final is brilliant for Qatar and for Qataris, because they've put on a great show, great spectacle, a wonderful World Cup in such beautiful surroundings, fantastic stadiums, great organisation, and yeah, some of the early stuff, nonsense that was built up to try and discredit the World Cup. Actually, you know, when the football started, you know, all of that was lost, and nobody was interested in armbands and rainbow flags and anything else. You know, leave the politics out of the football, because real fans, people that have come here, people around the world, only wanted to talk about one thing, and that was the football and how it's delivered. The high entertainment that we've had right from the first game right up to the third place game, which a lot of people thought was just a dead rubber, an exhibition game. But actually, you know, Morocco and Croatia played out a great game at the Khalifa International Stadium, and Croatia coming out on top of that. Whoever wins today is going to add a great new chapter to their rich footballing heritage and history, Argentina or France. France will become, I think, is it the second or it'd be the third, wouldn't they? After Germany and Italy, the third team to win back-to-back World Cups. Don't expect me to give you the dates of those. I haven't got a clue but it'd be a long time ago. It would have been a very long time ago. And Argentina, of course, so close a number of times. It'll be their first World Cup since 1986, and that memorable Maradona World Cup that immortalised him. And Messi would be looking to add his name to that illustrious list of footballers and Argentinians. So both teams, 2 times winners already. Argentina, as I said, started off very dodgy fashion against Saudi Arabia. France made many changes in their final group game and lost 1-0 to, is it Algeria or Tunisia? Can't remember which one. So a lot riding on. These two are global superpowers of world football, aren't they? You know, whoever wins, you know, you couldn't find an argument for them not deserving it, because they really are the two form teams. You know, the two teams that at the beginning would have been a lot of people's favourites. I had backed France as my team to win, even though at the back of my, you know, my heart said England, my head said France. And then it's Argentina, because, you know, I love Diego Maradona. My love for football started, even though I was too young for the World Cup in '86. My love for football and ever since has been, you know, down to one man, Maradona, and then you got your Messis and Ronaldos and Zidans and the old Ronaldo and Rivaldos and Ronaldinhos and Figos, Pirlos, Gerrards, Salahs. They've all come and they've done their bit, but football for me is defined by Maradona, and that's my that image of him, that goal against England, the second one in '86. You know, that's what made me fall in love with the World Cup. So today, France, of course, it's had two very strong squads, and all the focus is understandably on Mbappe and Messi, but actually there's a lot more to these teams, isn't there? For France and for Argentina, you know, across the whole squad, across the first 11, I don't know who's going to be starting, but let's just touch on a couple of players. You know, beyond Messi and Mbappe, Lloris, who can win multiple you know, international trophies as captain. Their defence has been very good. They've had this virus that went round apparently the French squad over the last few days, I understand, and 3-4 of their regulars couldn't take part in the semi-final. But look, I mean, who the people that came in? Ibrahima Konate, Liverpool superstar, came in, and boy did he do a job against Morocco. You know, man mountain Ibrahima. And whilst I want Argentina to win, you know, I'd love Ibu to win as well, but we can't have it all, can we? But there's been quality right across the French team. One player that stood out probably more than most, not least because he's an out-and-out striker, and you'd expect him to be on the end of crosses and passes. But Antoine Griezmann, you know, he's had to play a different role. He's been remodelled as a midfielder, pulling the strings, and he's been brilliant, hasn't he? Giroud, who's absent from the semi-final due to this virus, is probably likely to come back in. But the rest of the France, I mean, they're missing Pogba, Kante, they're missing Benzema, they're missing Hernandez. I mean, these guys are all, you know, starters in this French team, and yet this team has looked like it's, apart from being pushed pretty hard by Morocco, I think there is a gear that was still left in that French team. Quality everywhere you look, right from the back up to the front, options, and they could bring on, you know, bring on two full teams in this game. But I get a feeling that there won't be too many changes. If the guys that were away with the virus come back, then I think Upamecano will probably end up replacing Konate, but he deserves to be in the final. He was superb in the semis. And the rest of the team, I think it would be as was. Potentially Giroud coming in for Griezmann. I can't see it. Well, they both may play. Who knows? We'll see in a couple of hours' time when the team is revealed. And for Argentina, and again away from Messi, Di Maria, he may start, he may not start, I don't know. A lot of the creativity does come from Messi, of course, but there are workers in the Argentina team. They're solid, hard work, and they will put their neck on the line today, not just for themselves or Argentina, but just to get Messi that World Cup and get him over the line. And one player whose stock has gone up a lot in this World Cup, Enzo Fernandez. Player's been linked with my team, Liverpool. He has been exceptional, breaking everything up in the midfield and finding those killer passes, you know, driving that team forward from midfield. And said, other than Messi, the rest of them are workhorses in that Argentina team. You know, players like Alexis McAllister, for example, who plays for Brighton. You know, he's come in after that first game against Saudi and then has been ever present since. You know, he's just quietly got on about his business and really done a job for Argentina. So you've got workers, you've got solid performers, you haven't got superstars. The one superstar they would all be looking to is, of course, Messi. Just a quick recap then on how we all got here. Argentina, Copa American champions, 2-1 defeat against Saudi. Alarm bells, God, must have been ringing. But and had a tough tough game against Mexico, but came through that. As Leo Messi really came to the fore, didn't he, against Mexico? Took the ball by the horns in that second half, and that goal changed everything, and they haven't looked since. And from that point on, you know, the belief in that squad and that team, and Messi, really, they felt that this was their time. And he's since had a number of match-winning performances, not least against Croatia. That run, that set up for Alvarez, that third goal, that was Messi putting his marker down. That's that moment you felt that, yep, he and everybody, the entire team and the squad and the manager and Argentinian fans, they believed that they're going to the final. Much like Maradona in '86, really, took the ball by the horns and he said, you know what, I'm going to do this myself. And to some extent, not to the same effect as Maradona in '86, but Messi, he's put his mark on the game, the semi-final, the quarter-final, and it's been building up nicely. So all he has to do today is score a hat-trick to lift that trophy, and maybe he will be, he could be considered in the same breath as Maradona. But what an occasion awaits! What an occasion awaits! France themselves, opening game against Australia, with all of those absent players, Kante, Benzema, and Kunku. Kimpembe. How many you can go? You can go through the list, can't you? They were all absent, weren't they? And they've had, look, the French team have had problems in the build-up as well, haven't they? There's a lot of moody players, these French. There was talk of, there was rumours of, disquiet within the camp. It's always been disquiet within the French camp. But they got it together. First two games, destroyed Australia in the first game, I think 3-1 or 4-1, I can't remember. And a very strong performance against Denmark to qualify, and then kind of took it easy against Tunisia. Did I say Algeria earlier? Yeah, Tunisia. And against Poland, pretty much a solid performance. There was only one winner coming out of that game, wasn't there? Against England, however, a game I watched at the Al Bayt Stadium, England unlucky. And I'm not saying that. Look, England outplayed France for large parts of that game. Okay, for large parts of that game, England outplayed. And that penalty, that first one would deserve, that second one that hit the rainbow from Harry Kane. What could have been? But, a good team, great team. They came through. And, Mbappe and the rest of that French squad, they got over the line against England, put it that way. That second penalty goes in for England, and we're into potentially extra time and penalties, and who knows what could have been. But it is what it is. So can France repeat the feat from 4 years ago? Of course they can. Italy did it. Brazil did it in the past, and there are plenty of reasons. But it's such a task, isn't it? Because in that 4 years, so much changes. You go through the squad, the managers, the players go through so many injuries, form, so many things. So many things can affect it. But for them to be just here again in that final, I mean, they would have expected to be in the latter stages, in the quarters, maybe semis, but to get to a final, that's a huge achievement for Deschamps, who, by the way, let's not forget, talking of records, he won the World Cup twice, didn't he, as a player, and he's already won one as a manager. He could be a double manager and a double player World Cup winner. I don't think anybody else has done that, have they? Or anybody is likely to again. So again, another record potentially in the line for Deschamps to break his own record, and I'm sure if he wins this World Cup, he may want to call it quits. If he doesn't, the Euros are around the corner, aren't they? So potentially, another competition again, I suspect France will be favourites for. Argentina came here to Qatar with an army of fans. They estimate that there was about 50 to 60,000, but I think there's more. You add the locals and the neutrals and all the countries' fans that have remained after their teams were knocked out, I think you're looking at about 100,000 people. I know from hanging around Doha and the various fan parks and the souk and the boulevards, it's just blue and white. Honestly, I've never seen, and I have to say that they have been the dream fans. I've never met so many people, so many, and they have easily, been the best set of fans you could ever be around. They're so passionate, they're knowledgeable about the game. They got involved here in Doha with everything, with the locals, with the custom, the culture. They've done everything that you'd expect a dream set of fans to do, and they've been so well behaved, so polite, so courteous. As I said, got involved right from the beginning, and they're here and they're making the noise, and they are absolutely loving it in the stadiums, outside the stadiums. And a shout out for the Brazil fans as well. I mean, the Brazil fans, really sad, but a lot of them, have stayed around, and they want, it's hard for them, isn't it, for Brazil? But they want their South American country, South American, compatriots to win over France. But the Brazilians have been brilliant. From a European perspective, the Croatians, what a brilliant set of fans. They've been a credit to their country. 4,000 or 5,000 of them that are here, that have remained here. Very, very, loud in the Khalifa Stadium yesterday in the third place game. They've been such courteous, such polite, humble people, these Croatian fans. And then, of course, the Moroccans, that's local, I guess, the Arabs, Moroccans supporting the Arab teams, the African teams supporting the Moroccans. The Europeans have let themselves down. European fans have let themselves. They haven't. Not many of them have come. Those that have come stayed, within themselves in complexes. Haven't really got involved as much, and that's disappointing, really. The Argentinians, coming back to them, they transformed Doha. They honestly did. And the people of the Middle East and Doha and Qatar took to the Argentinian fans, and they transformed this place, brought colour, energy, enthusiasm, party, life, the blue and white everywhere. And you can't literally walk 5 yards without finding an Argentinian, wearing a... Last night at the souk, about 2 o'clock in the morning, people were literally buying the last of the flags and the replica and the unofficial shirts and anything with the blue and white, because the Argentinians, they've come here, they've really put on a show, and they have won the hearts and minds of every Arab that's here and the Qataris. So that's a new relationship that's born, and I think that one that is going to easily stand the test of time, because these Argentinians really have set a fantastic example for brilliant football, brilliant fans. So their team absolutely deserves not only to be here, but to win. And let's not forget, most of them flew halfway across the world to be here. Right from the beginning, I've stayed with so many thousands of them. I've lived in the same complex with them. I've shared transport with them. I've shared, the boulevards and the fan zones with them, walking, talking, taking pictures, videos, interviewing, being interviewed. It's been a carnival without Brazil. But they haven't, Brazilians have added to this like they do in every World Cup, and credit to all the fans that have come here to make this a wonderful, wonderful occasion. There you are. There's a big banner being unfurled over there by the mascot. It's got a picture of Maradona there. I suspect there's, Messi on the other side as well. So it's going to start to slowly build up. It's 11:15 at the moment, and slowly a trickle of people coming in, and slowly and the media, TV broadcasters, everybody are just positioning themselves slowly. There's a short walk across that gap there. That gap behind there sits the stadium. So prediction time. My goodness, my heart says Argentina. My head is starting to say Argentina. There's a slip of the tongue there. Look, both teams, as I said, whoever won, both would have plenty of reasons to be deserving winners of this work. It's such a closely matched contest. Both teams, all over the pitch, can go toe to toe. You know, master versus the apprentice, Messi versus Mbappe. PSG connection, Qatari connection. We're here in Qatar, in Doha, in Lusail. Both of them are ambassadors for football here in this mad footballing nation. Their faces, you know, adorn every billboard, every building. It's the match that everybody. As soon as Brazil got knocked out, it's the match that everybody wanted for the final, and we hope that it lives up to that billing. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be. I think it'll be a classic, because it's such an even matchup. You know, both teams, attacking teams. Neither of them will be sitting back. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say Argentina will edge it. Argentina will edge it just purely because they got Messi, and I'll tell you why. Because as great as Mbappe is, you know, his raw speed, talent, but Messi, the master, he's a thinker. He's got a footballing brain that's probably 10, 15 years ahead of Mbappe at the moment. You know, you see Messi walking around, standing around, doing nothing, and suddenly, bang, you know, one pass, and it's led to a goal. So just purely on the footballing brain, and Mbappe will develop that brain in the next decade or so that he's going to be around. He could possibly end up playing 5 World Cups at this rate. But my heart and my head says, purely because of the footballing brain that the Messi has matured over the last 18 years, I think it will just give him that edge, and France will edge it 2-1. If it goes to extra time, great, we get more for our money. But I think it will be 2-1 in regular time. And what a party and a farewell end, fairy tale end it will be for Messi. They'll probably concede a lot of possession to France. France will probably dictate the game a lot, do a lot of the running in midfield, especially very strong midfield. The lad Chouameni, he's been superb, hasn't he? He's one of the players of the tournament, other than the Moroccan, what's his name, Amrabat, who's been linked with Liverpool. By the way, I hope we get him, because he is done wonders for his reputation in this World Cup. And Argentina, to win this game, will have to stay pretty compact. They'll have to rely on Fernandez to break things up in the midfield, and Alvarez, Man City, isn't he? Man City Alvarez, who will have to double up with Messi and have to do a lot of the running for Messi up top. And if they can somehow keep Mbappe quiet and stop these crosses coming in for Giroud or Griezmann, then I think Argentina could well just edge it. But all the focus is going to be on Mbappe and Messi, isn't it? The whole world is going to be watching how they perform, and whoever comes out on top, you know, are destined for greatness. For Messi, you know, is going to go down in history as the second best footballer behind Diego Maradona. And if Mbappe wins second World Cup before the age of 24, matching Pelé, and another 2 or 3 World Cups to go, this is just a World Cup final, you know, with so many permutations, so much to look forward to, so many talking points. And I've just tried to share some of my thoughts. I don't know, I'm obviously not going to replay back on the 30 odd minutes that I've talked sitting here in this wonderful setting on the Lusail Boulevard, under the shadows of Lusail Towers and the stadium, just between that gap there. Lovely breeze, beautiful weather, super environment. It will build up, the world's media slowly gathering around the corner, and this is the place to be today. This is the place to be. I hope wherever you're watching, enjoy the game, enjoy the parties, whoever you're supporting, France or Brazil. I know, and I'm sure you will have a wonderful time. I know I will, and I will share my thoughts immediately after the game, for what it's worth. But I hope it will be Messi and Argentina lifting that famous trophy, and I hope to be witnessing a final chapter in the illustrious international career of Lionel Messi. And I've said to all the Argentinian fans today that Messi has to win this World Cup, not just for himself, not just for Argentina, not for the Argentinian people, but a tribute to the greatest player to have ever kicked a football, Diego Armando Maradona, my hero. Rest in peace, Diego. Over and out.